Chapter 4, the week after Azalea's first study group, felt different, though Declan couldn't quite explain why. The days moved at their usual pace: lectures, assignments, the constant shuffle of students through campus. But the air seemed lighter, as though a new rhythm had begun to weave itself into his routine. By Thursday evening, he found himself back in the Dalhousie Student Union, building with Liam, Priya, and Emily. They had gathered for a quick planning session before exams, their table once again scattered with notes, laptops, and half-finished drinks. Liam leaned back in his chair, a familiar smirk on his face, his blue Toronto maple leaf sweater standing out against the muted tones of the lounge. "We'll get through this exam easy. Priya's got color-coded notes, Emily's got snacks, and Declan's got the eternal optimism of a Leafs fan, right?" "Optimism," Priya raised an eyebrow, "more like denial." Emily laughed, shaking her head. "Please, don't get him started on hockey. We'll never get any work done." Declan chuckled, shaking his head at Liam's grin. "I'm not the Leafs fan here, that's your department. I just survive the chaos you bring to the table." "Survive? You love me," Liam shot back, tossing a pen into his open notebook. "Anyway, we've got this under control. No need for an all-nighter tonight." As their banter carried on, Declan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, his heart skipping when he saw the name. Azalea. She had texted earlier about needing some extra help with their readings, and now she was confirming, still okay to meet later. Declan typed back quickly, "Yeah, I'll be here. See you soon." His friends caught the flicker of a smile he tried to suppress. Emily arched an eyebrow knowingly but said nothing, only sipping her tea with a mischievous look. After an hour of working, the group began to pack up. Priya tucked her highlighters neatly into a case, Emily shoved snack wrappers into her bag, and Liam stretched, yawning loudly. "That's enough productivity for one night. Declan, you sticking around?" "Yeah," Declan said casually, though he felt the heat of his friend's curiosity. "I promised Azalea I'd help her with some readings." "Oh," Liam teased, slinging his backpack over his shoulder. "Late study sessions, huh? Sure it's about the readings." Priya shot him a look. "Don't start." Emily grinned, clearly amused. "Have fun, Declan." They waved their goodbyes, leaving Declan alone at the corner table. He exhaled slowly, steadying himself. The lounge grew quieter as the evening stretched on, the crowd thinning until the building hummed with only a few lingering voices. When Azalea arrived, she slipped through the doors quietly, her notebook hugged to her chest as though it were armor. Her pink hair caught the glow of the overhead lights, a small contrast against the dimming windows that reflected Halifax's night beyond. She spotted Declan almost immediately and offered a hesitant smile. "You stayed," she said softly, walking over. "Of course," Declan replied, rising slightly from his chair before gesturing to the seat beside him. "I said I would." She sat down, setting her notebook carefully on the table. For a moment, there was only the quiet rustle of paper as she opened her notes, her fingers brushing the edges nervously. Declan noticed and gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, we'll go through it step by step." Her shoulders eased just a little. "Thank you. I didn't want to bother you, but I guess I needed the help." They began with the readings, Declan leaning in slightly as he explained key points, his voice low but steady. Azalea listened intently, occasionally biting her lip as she scribbled notes. When she asked questions, they weren't shallow. They were thoughtful, searching, the kind that made Declan pause to consider before answering. He admired that about her, the way she leaned into curiosity instead of shying away from it. At one point, Their arms brushed as they both reached for the same textbook. The contact was brief, accidental, but it left Declan hyper-aware of the closeness between them. He glanced at her, but she was focused on the page, her expression intent, though a faint pink had touched her cheeks. "So," she said after a pause, closing her notebook lightly, "do you always stay this late for studying?" "Not always," Declan admitted, "but sometimes it's easier when it's quiet, less distraction." She nodded, smiling faintly. "I think I like that too." As the hours passed, their work slowly gave way to softer conversation. Azalea leaned back in her chair, stretching her arms with a sigh. "Okay, I think my brain is officially full." Declan chuckled. "That's a good sign. It means we've covered enough." She tilted her head, her blue eyes catching his in the lamplight. "You're really patient. Most people would have told me to figure it out myself by now." "I don't mind," Declan said quietly. "I like being here with you." The words slipped out before he could second-guess them. For a heartbeat, silence hung between them. Azalea blinked, her lips parting as though caught off guard. But then, slowly, she smiled. A small, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "I like being here too," she admitted softly. The building had grown almost silent, the steady hum of lights the only sound as the night deepened. Declan noticed the clock on the wall. It was later than he'd realized. "We should probably wrap up soon. Don't want to get locked in." Azalea laughed lightly, gathering her notes. "Yeah, that would be an interesting first impression of a study partner, trapped overnight in the SUB." He grinned. "Could be worse. At least we'd have vending machines." She shook her head, amused. "You'd find the silver lining." Together, they packed their things, the quiet rhythm of their movements almost comfortable, like they had done this countless times before. When they stood, Declan offered to walk her out, and she didn't hesitate to agree. Outside, the air was crisp, the streets quieter now under the glow of streetlights. They walked side by side toward the parking lot, their steps falling in sync. Azalea hugged her notebook close, her hair brushing her shoulders as the breeze caught it. "Thank you again," she said softly. "I know I said it already, but tonight really helped." Declan glanced at her, warmth rising in his chest. "Anytime. Really. You don't have to hesitate to ask." She met his gaze, holding it for a moment longer than before. Then, "I guess I'll ask again sometime." The simplicity of her words carried a promise that lingered between them as they reached the lot. Declan unlocked his Toyota Corolla, the familiar click breaking the quiet. Azalea smiled faintly, shifting her notebook under one arm. "Good night, Declan." "Good night, Azalea." For a moment, neither moved, the night air wrapping around them like a pause they didn't want to end. Then she turned, walking toward her own path, her figure slowly fading into the glow of the streetlights. Declan slid into his car, hands resting on the steering wheel, but he didn't start the engine right away. Instead, he let himself replay the night, the laughter, the ease, the quiet confessions that had passed between them. Something had changed, subtly but unmistakably. And as he finally drove across the bridge toward home, the city lights shimmering on the water below, he carried the certainty that this connection was only just beginning.